We're back. Welcome to the Greenlight podcast. My name is Dr. Davis, the good doctor.
And I'm Miss Imani.
So, Miss Imani, what are we about to do now?
Culture chat.
All right. What's going on?
All right. So Fantasia is going back to college.
I love it.
What
I
you
love
think?
it. I think it's a good idea because it shares a message that is never too late, right?
Yeah.
Because we have some people who graduate at 25 and say, oh my gosh, I'm behind, or buying a house at 35. Like, it's never too late to accomplish your goals. So if that's something that she wanted to do, I'm glad she's going back.
Yeah, and she's 38. She has 3 kids, and she's married. And you're right, it's never too late. I remember I graduated at 25, so I started, and then I came back a little bit later, and I finished. And
Nothing wrong with that.
I felt behind a little bit,
You
but
did
not
feel
enough
behind.
to not, come back. And I'm so happy that I did. So I'm happy that she's coming back, and business is going to work out for her in her profession.
I think so, but also I think it sends a message to her fans as well, because a lot of her fans, I'm assuming that they just have issues that they're going through. We all have issues, so they can listen one to her music, but also to how she's living her life. I think it's a great example. So, kudos, and hopefully she graduates in a decent time.
Hopefully, I know she will
She
graduate.
will. You're right. She's
She's
gonna
gonna kill it.
What's your favorite song for Fantasia, by the way?
When I See You.
Can you sing that for me? All right, maybe it's best that you don't. So moving on, we have Little Dirk.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
So he launches a scholarship fund at Howard University. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's based from, Chicago, and the fact that he's giving back and putting his 2 cents out there and really promoting the environment that he's grew up in, right? So many students haven't had the chance to go to college, and the fact that he is personally contributing to it lets you know where his heart stands, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it sends the right message to his fans that he's willing to put his money where his mouth is. So he's supporting people from Chicago, A, and then B, he's encouraging them to graduate in a decent time because he's also paying or giving $250,000 for the graduation retention access to continue excellence grant. So amazing what he's doing. I'm hoping other rappers follow suit.
I really hope so. Who do you wish would?
Well, I'm sure that I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing it. But for me, Nipsey Hussle, he's one of my favorite rappers. So hopefully there's like a scholarship fund in LA for students who are going to college or whatever. The marathon continues. So what about you?
That's a good idea. Who would I say? I would probably say Drake, actually.
Drake?
I think, Drake is actually really big into education and really influencing people. So I think if he put his money where his mouth is, it would really benefit.
And I wish entertainers would do that more because, we buy their albums or we pay big money for their tickets. I want them to give back, but do it publicly. So we know that, I'm helping inner city students go to school or I'm buying Howard University a new building, whatever. Like, give back to the people because you have so much. Yeah, take the initiative. You have so much money. You can't spend it all. You know, you're a billionaire. Jay-Z's a billionaire. Diddy, billionaire. You can't spend it all. Give it back to the people that supported you to get there. Exactly. That's what I would do if I were a billionaire.
Same, I would.
All right, so what do we have next?
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, this is a sad story. It seems like it keeps getting worse.
Yeah, so he was in Marvel, and they just had a huge premiere as well as for Creed. And he had accusations that were dropped about him committing like domestic assault.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're coming back and he's now been dropped from his talent agency, it's really, really hard to hear. Because it's kind of like what's going to happen next. You're almost scared to see.
Yeah, and the thing is, the part that I really don't like, if the allegations were dropped, right, it's still impacting his career and how people perceive him. And that's the problem that bothers me because if you're innocent but still people are kind of tie you to that situation, it impacts you, So as a young entertainer, black entertainer, it just hurts to see that he's in this situation. So I'm hoping that he can overcome it and continue to make great movies. Yeah,
and I hope that Marvel doesn't drop him because Marvel has a tendency to, anytime there's any like controversy around anything, they tend to just back off, and then next thing you know, the person's not there anymore, and no one wants to see his part be recasted. No one wants anybody else on there.
I hate watching movies where the next movie is recasted. I like the original person.
Of course.
So, but would you be wrong or upset with Marvel for canceling him?
I would, because the accusations were dropped. Now, if he was found guilty, of course, at all costs, take his his accolades away from him because he made a split decision that cost him his career. Now, but if they're dropped and it found out that he's not guilty, I think they just need to take that in for account and take that. Don't make it personal.
Right, but how do you feel when these companies drop you immediately? So if something happens to a celebrity, and like Adidas, for example, they just dropped Kanye, right?
Yeah.
Even though what he said was questionable.
Yeah, he wanted
to get dropped.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, they take these harsh actions, and then the person's found not guilty. How do you feel about those situations?
I feel like they should wait stuff out. Now, I'm not saying wait years, but enough time to let justice actually come to its past. I don't think it should be a personal decision where you guys get together and go, well, what's the best look for the company and how can we avoid being seen? Because everyone makes mistakes, but you shouldn't be held accountable for that for the rest of your life. That's the fact.
I wonder if we were on the other side of the equation, we work for Disney or we work for Adidas.
We feel the same.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's my company, billions of dollars are on the line. I may look at it differently. I don't know, but from the side of the fan, I'm riding with the celebrities on this one.
Yeah, I hope.
But it depends on the situation.
Around, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
So moving on, we have an 84-year-old man charged with shooting a 16-year-old boy who mistakenly arrived at his house.
Yeah.
Sad?
Tragic.
Yeah,
so he was picking up his sibling, and the guy actually shot him in the head and in the arm.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping he's found guilty because it sets precedent. If he's innocent, that we can just shoot people randomly, like this is the Wild Wild West or the OK Corral. Like we need to have some structure and laws in our country to protect not only the youth, but just all people. That could have been anyone, whether you're delivering pizza or Grubhub or whatever the case may be. That could have been anyone at that door. It just happened to be him. Yeah. So I think we need to have some laws in place to begin to protect the people.
I think it's important that we have that too. I mean, everyone has rings, which kind of gives you a advantage of like reaching out and seeing who's outside, but the fact that this guy took the initiative to literally just not even answer the door but shoot immediately, and he made a quote about how he was a little bit curious about his size, so since he saw how tall he was willing to just shoot him. It didn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't make sense. There's no excuse, and it's not fair. But to make the story worse, this kid had to go to a couple different homes to get support. So initially he would knock on the door when he was shot to try to get help, and the people kind of told him to leave. Like, what's going on in our society where we're not helping people who need help? Yeah,
I think people are thinking a lot about how it would affect them,
Is that selfish?
I think it's selfish to an extent because a person didn't ask for that situation to happen, and being involved with that, it could cost them a lot, right? The word is so sensitive, so like their job or their families or their marriages, so it's sensitive to that extent. But then also the fact that he couldn't have that support. If you can't have it in a neighborhood, where are you gonna get it?
Right.
It's scary.
It's definitely scary
because he could have bled out.
He could have died right there because no one was willing to call the police. Or that's insane to me. And it brought up the Good Samaritan story in the Bible where there was a guy on the road and he needed help and some people walked by. Like, that's insane that someone's in need, a kid, and you're telling that person to leave instead of calling 911.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable the world that we live in.
And it's unfortunate, but I really hope he heals and he recovers and this doesn't, serve or set a next trauma for him in the future.
But on a good note, his GoFundMe did exceed $3 million.
I know, I saw that.
$3 million.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's $4 million by the time he gets out. But I'm happy that there are good people in this world and they are generating funds for him. He's going to need it.
He is going to need it. So, all right, guys, that succeeds our culture chats for today. We'll be back after this break.
Welcome back to the Greenlight podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have the Miss FAMU, Aliya Everett. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you? All right.
We are doing pretty good. We are happy to have you.
Thank you.
Let's jump into the fun questions.
Okay.
All right. So we want you to finish the sentence.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Here
we go. When I graduate, I'm going to miss
my friends.
Okay.
What about your friends?
I kind of miss them already because I'm so busy. But it's like once I graduate, it's like I know they're going to be transitioning into their senior year, so they're going to have a lot going on trying to prepare for graduating and what their life is going to look like after FAMU. So I feel like with me graduating now and them going into their senior year, it's going to be not that much time to spend like together, just having fun like we did when I first transferred in.
But that's what homecoming's for, when you come back to campus and things like that.
You can come to visit, you can come back to talk, J school, grads are back. You can always come back, girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, the best aspect of being a Miss FAMU is?
The best aspect of being Miss FAMU is? what I say? I don't know if community would work.
That works.
I've met a lot of beautiful people throughout my reign. A lot of people that just are so compassionate and like loving for not only because I'm Miss FAMU, but because I am a rattler. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of 2 in 1. Like, oh, it's Miss FAMU, but like she's a rattler. Like, she's a young rattler that's getting ready to enter the world. And so all of them, all they want to do is just pour into us and like give us so many different opportunities and try and connect us with other people that are successful just to make sure that we're straight, we're good when we graduate, or we're good while we're on campus. So
that's a blessing.
That's really been the best part of it for me, honestly. Yeah.
The song that brings back the best memories or captures your FAMU experience is?
It's probably going to be, is it Moneymaker by 2 Chainz? When I first transferred into FAMU, everything was virtual. So they had like, this guy from Atlanta. He produced it was just a video. 2 Chainz hadn't released his official music video for the song, but he got all the D9 like organizations from like a representative from each HBCU type thing and each Divine Nine organization, and brought them together to create like a Greek video to 2 Chainz Moneymaker. But I don't know, it was the first video seen like when I got to FAMU, so like that's all I was thinking about while I was at FAMU. And I don't know, that's just,
it just takes you back, huh?
It takes me back to the good days, the real good days.
Okay, what's the best way to put yourself out there in college is to do what?
I haven't found the answer for other people specifically, but for me, I literally just put myself out there. Like I said, when I got here, everything was virtual. So when I went to the CAF, I was talking to people. When I was walking around in FAMU Towers North, I was talking to people. When I went to the rec field for the flag football game, I was talking to people. Like, so I don't know. Like, I just don't be afraid to be social. To make connections wherever you go. Like, just get to know people. You never know what that person can do for you, not even going into it thinking like that, but like when you make those genuine connections, you never know what somebody can do or who they know or whatever it is. And for me, like, so I just talk to everybody. That was what got me to where I'm at.
You're an extrovert.
Yes, very much so.
So it's natural for you to go and just talk to people?
Right, and that's why when people come and ask me, like, how do you network so well? I'm like, I don't know what advice to give you, like somebody that's introverted or someone that's not, that has social anxiety or something. Like, I don't know, like just talk to people, but everybody can't do that. So it's just
difficult for some.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, final one. 10 years from now, I will
be successful and pour back into my HBCU. Okay. Hopefully, I should be financially stable enough by then to be able to give back to FAMU and other organizations that I've joined while I've been on campus. So,
just to follow it real quick, what is your definition of successful?
That's a hard question. No, it's not. It's more so like being successful. I just really think about living comfortably. Like, I want to be able to travel and experience the world and take care of the people that I care about. Mm-hmm. So, like, anything that's got me in a position to be able to care for my loved ones, but also, like, spoil myself in a way or, like, cater to myself, too, because I feel like it's been business, like, all the way up until this point. Like, okay, you got to graduate, go to school, graduate, da-da-da. But, like, I want to get to a point in life where I'm not as busy and I can just enjoy life with the people that I love. So, I guess being successful would be ultimately, that, like, financially stable, so I can do those things.
And I think that's important to get to that point too. You begin to enjoy life. Mm-hmm. You're happy. You're not, always on the go.
Right.
But you did so much while you were here.
Yeah.
So, and then once you get to your respective job, I'm sure you're going to start all over and, work and grind and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So getting to that point is definitely a blessing.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
So, question, let's go back to what we were talking about before. As a transfer student, right? Mm-hmm. So let's paint the picture. You're a transfer student. You came here during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So describe that feeling of how you were still so ambitious, even though, COVID was going on. We kind of shut down to a degree, FAMU, the campus. Mm-hmm. But yet you were still so driven.
Mm-hmm. So I just noticed growing up that, like, there's rattlers everywhere, and even the few, like, the very small amount of rattlers that I have in my community, like, I could just see through, I don't know, it's like 5, maybe 6, 7 of them, but I could see in them, like, how deep their love for FAMU was, like, their pride. I'm just like I want that sense of community. Like, I want to be there. Like, my youth program, they took us to a homecoming one day, and I'm a first generation student also, so it's like, I didn't, that was my first introduction to FAMU, and I didn't know nothing about HBCUs or anything. I'm just like, it's a bunch of black people. Like, it feels like home. Like, this is a coincidence. Like, I was like 7, 8 years old. And then I got older and I finally came to a game by myself. And I'm like, wow, like, there's other schools like this. But FAMU is right here. And, you know, like, just looking at the statistics, like, it's cheaper to attend in-state. And this period compared to UF or UCF or anything. But I'm going off topic.
No,
What's the question?
You're fine. I was pretty much saying, what motivated you, because so much was going on here during the COVID time period, to kind of be so aggressive and just accomplish so much, but also that feeling of going back home and seeing those 5 or 6 FAMU people with the crown or being Miss FAMU.
Yes.
Share that experience.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, the motivation just came from them, like I said, seeing how deep their love was for this place. And then realizing, like, everywhere you go, it's a Rattler literally everywhere you go. We don't say that just to say that. And I'm sure you guys, we all know that. So that was really just my motivation getting here. I'm like, okay, I came here to network. Like, these people got it going on. Right. This community of alumni and all these people, like, I've got to get in contact with all of these people. And the only way you can do that to me was just talking and you know, virtual, you know. Social media was a big thing there too, so I was just following everybody that I saw that went to FAMU and stuff. I'm just gonna get myself out there. But touching on the feeling of going back home with a crown and everything, it's just like it's just really like what's the word? Just heartwarming to be able to come from such a small community, and there's only a handful of Rattlers in my community, and it's just like they're the only people that truly understand what it's like, where I'm coming from, or how big the position is, versus everyone else that don't go to don't go to college or have been in Blountstown all their life, grew up, got married, raised a family there, going 9 old and everything, and so it's just like having them and making them proud. Like for me, Miss FAMU is bigger because of what it means to other people versus like what it means to me, if that makes sense.
Totally understand.
So yeah.
And even still, like, once the reign is over, even when you go home, they're always going to say, oh, it's a Miss FAMU, you know, like, because you brought that back to the hometown, which I think is amazing.
Yes, thank you so much.
So you seem like you're very just attentive and you're a go-getter, you're very ambitious. I love that as a black woman, okay? Just do your thing, girl, okay? What is the most memorable moment about being Miss FAMU? And what are you going to miss?
Most memorable moment. Okay, so this goes hand in hand with each other. Like, you asked what's the most memorable moment, and you asked what I'm gonna miss.
Yeah.
So my most memorable moment was going to the HBCU Kings and Queens conference in New Orleans this past summer. And that's where I met all of my sister queens, like all the HBCU Royal Courts, like not only Mr. and Miss, like NCAT or Mr. and Miss CAU, but like Miss Junior, Miss Senior, all those people as well with the HBCU courts. And so that was my first time seeing how big the title was itself, because I am from a small town. So kind of like, you know, everyone else back home, you know, I just did something, okay, I won Miss FAMU, cool. But then you get to these conferences and you meet the alumni and it's like, oh my God, this is huge. Yeah. And so I met all of them. It kind of like, I went through a lot with my campaign. I don't know if you guys know the story, but I went through a lot running for Miss FAMU. And so when I finally got to that conference and like met these other beautiful, strong, black, empowering women, and they were pouring into me, like telling me how much they look up to me and how they expected me to be this way because I'm from FAMU, but I'm really like this person and they love me and all these things. And so that opportunity, or that moment, was when I finally like stepped back into myself. I'm like, no, girl, like what you got going on? Because it was a lot that I went through, and it took a lot out of me. So like that moment, just meeting those women that were looking up to me, and then I was looking so forward to meeting them. It was just a lot. So I gained a sisterhood within this reign, and I was gonna say that's what I'm gonna miss the most, is having them, but like it's forever. It's past our reign. Like we're gonna be sister queens for life. So I guess like for what I would miss, I don't know, like I guess I would miss just the excitement of meeting people, and then they realize like I'm Miss FAMU, and it's like, oh my God, like I can see the impact that I'm having on people like in real time. So I guess that's what I'll miss, but I'm also thinking that'll probably never change either, because once Miss FAMU, always Miss FAMU. And when people find that out, that's just going to be a big thing. So I don't know. I'll miss the connections, I guess. I don't know.
It's okay.
Like that, yeah.
So let's transition to the academic piece.
Okay.
So Miss FAMU, you join the organizations, transfer student, still taking 15 credit hours. How did you balance all of that to still do well, graduate in the appropriate time? Like, what advice do you give the students on how you balance?
It's very hard, and I feel like something that transfer students don't realize when they get here, like when you want to get involved, it's like we're already, if you think about it, behind because we're coming in 2 years after everybody else has already been on campus. So it's like there's going to be a lot of sacrifices you have to make. Like me, I haven't really had the opportunity to go out and party or like enjoy just being a college student because I got here and I wanted to get involved. And I also have academics to worry about as well. So I'm handling both my extracurricular responsibilities and leadership and things as well as my academics. And with Miss FAMU, in the fall, I was traveling like every other week, the entire week. And then getting back and trying to catch up in class. Like, what did I miss or da-da-da-da. So it's very overwhelming. I get stressed out a lot. I'm an overthinker. I worry. Like I'm that type of person. So
you're human though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like
it's natural.
You know, people always say time management, but it's kind of hard to manage your time when like even when you do have a set schedule of things to do, things are popping up in between there, like in the set schedule that you already have. Like, oh, this is happening, you guys need to be here, or this is happening, you guys need to be here, and I'm just like, golly, but it comes with sacrifice, and it is hard, but it's doable. You just have to sacrifice, unfortunately, the fun times, you know.
And you did, but any regrets at all?
I do regret not going out enough. I do regret that because it's like I just take my schoolwork so seriously. Like I was raised that way. Like my dad was real hard on me growing up when it came to academics. So it's like that's always first. But I do miss like I feel like I've never had the opportunity to be like young and just living life because I'm so set on handling my responsibilities.
You're ambitious too.
Yeah.
You know, you accomplish so much. So
yeah,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
But you have what next week? Or next 2 weekends, maybe?
Yeah.
Live your life for the next few weeks.
2 weeks.
And then life after FAMU, you still have plenty of time. You know, you just don't get that college experience with the partying, but you had a memorable experience serving as Miss FAMU.
True.
So I think it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, knowing that you want to transfer, which sometimes can feel like a disadvantage, what advice would you give incoming freshmen who aspire to take on extracurricular activities? What advice would you give them about taking them on as well as balancing their grades, but also just being here and really getting the full experience? Just like you said, you missed out and you'll never have that experience again. What advice would you give them?
I feel like what I told my freshmen as an orientation leader, of course, I was encouraging them to get involved. But when I sat down and had individual conversations, because some of them are ambitious and want to just jump right in, but you have 4 years as a freshman. You have 4 years when you're coming in. Take your first year to get acclimated to campus, understand the FAMU culture, look at organizations that you may be interested in. Like, don't just jump right in. Like, just take in the freshman experience, enjoy being a freshman, go out, party, do everything you want to do, just live life. But then come back your sophomore year and be like, okay, this is what I saw my freshman year. Like, these are the organizations I saw doing community service. Like, this is who I'm interested in. And then pursue those organizations. And then also with your schoolwork, get the feel of the transition from high school to, freshman. So from high school to a 4-year university. Like, get the feel of how much or how rigorous your coursework might be compared to, like I said, what it was in high school, so you can go ahead and sit down and be like, okay, that's really where time management starts. So you know how much time you're going to need to work on this, because I might struggle a little bit more in this subject than I am in this subject. So it kind of goes with that. But yeah, those are the two things that I would probably really hit home on. Yeah.
And I think it's really good advice, too, because a lot of freshmen, especially as we're closing out the semester, a lot of them are saying how fast their freshman year went and how much they wish they would have been a lot more present, but school was so stressful that they just forgot that this is over. Like, they'll never get a freshman year again. So that advice about, just taking the time and giving yourself permission to take that time. Because the freshman year, everyone wants to meet friends. Most people from out of state, they don't really know what to do if they're alone for too long. And granted, they can still make friends. But just like you said, just giving them permission to just take that year and just really take in the culture.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that.
And that's kind of like, I guess I got lucky with transferring in during the pandemic because it wasn't so much going on that I was able to make those connections with these people that are on campus, if that makes sense. Like, I was able to actually enjoy just being at FAMU, even though nothing was going on, but it was just like, I'm finally at the institution that I've been wanting to come to for so long. Like, even though it's COVID, like, I'm living on campus. Like, I'm just like, I'm here. Like, I'm finally here.
So as a transfer student, you lived on campus?
I did.
Okay.
I stayed in FAMU Towers North, and I stayed by myself. And FAMU Towers North is actually it's 2 people to a room. Right. But because of COVID, they had one person to each room. So I was actually living very nicely on campus in the residence halls. And that's one of my greatest memories, too. Like, just at FAMU in general was, like, being able to just be a close-knit community because we're the only people on campus and nothing else is going on.
And you had the pace to do so.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
So, final question. When someone describes you or your legacy as Miss FAMU, how would you want them to describe you?
Oh, wow. I want to be remembered as an authentic Miss FAMU, like a down-to-earth, like serving Miss FAMU. I really do feel like that's how I am. I also would like people to be inspired, or be encouraged. Not even be inspired, but just be encouraged. Like, if you put in the work, you can do whatever you set yourself up to. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to. I know people say that a lot, but it's like, it's real. Like, if you take the time to sit down and put in that work, then it's going to happen, and it's not going to be easy whatsoever, but it's possible. And I just feel like, transfer students are always, like, we feel like it's a disadvantage being a transfer student, especially at FAMU, because it's so much that you can do.
That's what makes your story so compelling, because you came in as a transfer, accomplished so much, orientation leader, your organization, Miss FAMU, graduating on time, good GPA, and you did it as a transfer student. So it's real. It really gives hope to those transfers that it can be done. I don't know too many. Right.
With God, though. With God.
Yes.
Because I promise y'all. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's already, we're talking about how we're not saying it's a disadvantage, but we're talking about how hard it is, right? Essentially for transfer students to come in and do what they want to do at FAMU. But it's like, God literally set me up. Like, he literally positioned every single door right where it needed to be, and I did my part and he did his part, and here we are. But it's like, how do I say, I'm just trying not to repeat myself, but like, get the point across.
You had a good foundation.
You said it.
Yeah, like, I came in knowing what I wanted to do too. Like, there were some things that came along the way that I was like, oh, like, let's pick that up. But like,
so follow up. You came in saying I wanted to be Miss FAMU. Like, in your mind, you knew it.
Okay, so with Miss FAMU, that was very. It took me a lot to get myself to run for Miss FAMU. Like, it really did, because of the FAMU culture. Because of my background, like, it costs a lot of money to run a campaign. I'm from a small town, baby. My mom was a cosmetologist. Like, my dad, he worked for the state. But it's just like, coming from where I come from, like, a lot of legacies, a lot of third generational rattlers come back and do these things, and like, I'm laying the foundation for my family, or who comes behind me. Like, I'm blazing that trail. So it was a lot of different factors, and I had one. To answer your question, I was the first girl in my high school history to be on the the BHS homecoming court all 4 years, and then win Miss BHS, or whatever you want to call it.
You've been winning
my senior year
for a while now.
And then I joined at Chipola. I didn't win Miss Chipola, but I was on the Chipola homecoming court.
Okay.
So a lot of people back home were already putting like, oh, you gonna run for Miss FAMU? Are you gonna be Miss FAMU? And then when I got to FAMU and I started meeting people throughout my dorm, I would never forget this one person in general. His name is Jaden. I was doing my work in the common space in my residence hall, and he was like, bro, where did you come from? Like, who are you? Like, how do you know everybody? I'm like, I just speak to people. Yeah. And then people just start calling me Miss FAMU. Like, people just start calling me Miss FAMU. I was so happy to be at FAMU. I mean, singing I Like My F in front of my A up and down the hallways. Like, everyone knew when Aliya was coming down the hallway because I was saying something, doing something. And so people just start calling me Miss FAMU, Miss FAMU. And I'm like, okay, like, I pay attention to things. I'm like, if people see that in me, then maybe I should just go ahead and do it. And so I did it. And even like, I did a lot of praying about it because I'm like, God, I know there's going to be a lot that I'm going to face. Yeah. I kind of had already sat down with myself and understood, like, okay, you're probably going to go through some things. And I did. But it's just like, when you know it's coming, it's like, do I really want to put myself out there to do that? But it's like, somebody has to do it. Like, at the end of the day, somebody has to do it.
But did it make you stronger? The adversities that you had to endure?
Honestly, I feel like I really haven't had the time to sit down and reflect on it. Like, I've literally just been on go, and that's another thing as a transfer student getting involved when I talk about sacrifices. Like, I feel like I've been on go since I've stepped foot on this campus. Like, especially after winning Miss FAMU. Like, I became an orientation leader, had my first year. That was a lot too. It's just trying to get my name out there, still my face, really. And then winning Miss FAMU, and ever since then, it's just been straight.
Go.
I mean, I just have not had the time to. It hasn't been a break yet.
Yeah.
Like, and so
the vision that he gave you, and you just went with it. You're creating a path that someone behind you needs to see it's possible.
Absolutely.
So the replacement here is just exactly where you were meant to be.
Absolutely, and that's what I have to remind myself on, because it is hard and it is very like draining, like being the only one to do this or being the first in the family, because people don't understand, you know, the struggles that I'm facing because they've never been in my shoes. You know, so it's a lot. Like, it's really essentially just you doing it on your own. But like you said, like, I pray. I'm like, okay, if you say this gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You know, it may not happen right now, but like,
just come when you want it.
Yeah, just stay prayed up.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on our show. We appreciate your story, your testimony.
Absolutely,
and we wish you good luck post-graduation.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank
and just
you.
continue to succeed. I know you'll do great.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all.
All right, guys. We back after our announcements.
Welcome back to the Greenlight podcast. Miss Imani, what announcements do you have for the great people?
We have great announcements for today. Start with the first one.
So, number one, we have the Sean Carter Foundation National Scholarship. The deadline is April 30th. So, Mr. Carter, or Jay-Z, his foundation, he's giving away money to students who are in college. The deadline is April 30th. So, if you're interested, please just Google Sean Carter Foundation and it will come up.
All right, and also make sure you sign up for your summer classes. Make sure that if you are down in your GPA as well as your credits, that you're using this summer as a bumper. So it's priority, and you don't have to do too much. I'm not saying take 6 classes, but take enough that will actually advance you for your next semester.
And finally, finish strong. We are in finals week, so do everything possible. Get the best grade that you can. Talk to your professors, and then leave everything on the table. So when it's done, you can say you did 100%. Great effort.
Yeah. And as your closing message, I'm just going to say it. Have fun. Take a break. Breathe. Take your summer classes. Just rest. And we will see you next semester. Enjoy yourself, guys. Bye.
Have a great summer.